The focal point of this whole rundown is going to be why your content is not performing and what you can do about it. A lot of folks have come to me and they're like, Mark, I can't get my content to engage. People don't do anything with it. So this is a quick rundown of why that's happening, what you should do. Again, as a quick reminder, for those of you on LinkedIn, you will see the slides. Those of you on Instagram, you will not see the slides. You will need to get onto LinkedIn. All right. So I'm going to do a quick share screen here, and we are going to run through the reason your content's not performing, what you should be doing about it. 1 second. All right. A second. Okay. Looks like you guys may not actually see these slides, and that's going to be fine too. So okay, here it is. Real reason your content's not turning into clients, right? This is a free training for experts, founders, anyone seeking premium clientele who does not want to play the algorithm game. Okay, so this is what you're doing wrong. Number one, it's about authority, folks. The common frustration is you're showing up, you're consistently posting on LinkedIn or wherever you do your thing. You're following all the advice, right? All the gurus are telling you engage before you post your content for 10 minutes. Make sure you use the right hashtags, keywords, all the stuff that you are. And by the way, for those who don't know, I'm in a t-shirt and a hat because I am down at the Gulf of America right now. So the reality is people don't know what they should be doing to get engagement on their content. They get no results, no leads, no clients. What should they be doing? Here's the disconnect. This is the piece that you're missing. This is why your content is not working. Number one, I call it the visibility trap. If you're creating content for views and not conversation, you're making the wrong content. And that is all predicated. Think of a pyramid here, folks. Your visibility trap sits on top of strategy. Your strategy can't just be random content. A lot of folks are making content around it's their daily journal, it's their blogging, basically. That is not what content is about, not if in the sense of driving business. If you are a founder or an expert of any type and you are trying to attract people to your thing, that could be an AI tool. It could be just that you're an online coach. It doesn't matter, but people that want to build trust with you first before they'll buy, the content has to be strategically moving them in that direction. So the visibility trap comes off of no strategy. And of course, all of this sits on the missing client journey element. Like they're not understanding what it is that people do when they buy. The client journey has changed since COVID. It actually was changing prior, but COVID made it faster. What I mean by that is the way people normally buy things now, and I'm talking anything of substantial price. Think of commercial real estate, Gulfstream jets. I'm not talking a 99-cent toothpaste. When people make a considered purchase, is the term they use in business, they do a couple of things first, and one of them is they consume 8 hours of content. So if you are in the business game and you're selling something and you do not have 8 hours of content, and this needs to be insightful, educational, deep dive where I get to understand more about you and what you do. If you don't have that much content out there, you haven't built the rabbit hole for them to go down. And you know what I'm talking about because you yourself go down that rabbit hole. People are thinking about buying a new car. They spend 8 hours looking at whatever the car's features, feedback. And this isn't just like a new thing. This has been going on. This trust of know, like, and trust has been going on for years, 5 years minimum, more really. But like I said, everyone rushed online after COVID. And so all of a sudden, the amount of trust required grew. I used to see you a few times. You know, when I saw Gary Vaynerchuk for the first few times back in 2007, 8, I grew to like the guy pretty quickly. No one else was doing that. Today, the number of people pounding me in my inbox, DMing me and telling me how they can make me $1 million by whatever, lead gen capture, whatever it may be, and you're getting the same. Well, now I need a lot more trust to be built. I need more proof. You're in that boat. If you're in the business game and you're making content, you need to be generating proof that comes from 8 hours of content minimum. All right. That's the disconnect. The disconnect is you're not getting customers, whether you're a founder or a coach or whatever, because they don't believe you. It's an authority problem. They don't view you as the authority in your space. I worked on Wall Street for 3 decades, and the people on Wall Street knew the other people on Wall Street. Makes sense. Most communities work this way. So you don't need 8 hours of content for me to convince you that Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs is a good investment bank. I don't need 8 hours of content to know that Ray Dalio over at Bridgewater knows what he's doing with investing. But now Ray Dalio is not on Wall Street anymore. He's selling to the masses. And a lot of people don't know who Ray Dalio is. If you're not in the finance world, you wouldn't have been exposed to him. So if he's got his principles of the changing world order, he needs 8 hours of content around that, which he did. So my point is, you need to do the same. All right. What is content actually for? Right? Again, I want to hammer this before we go into further into the solution here. It is not a journal. You're not sharing personal updates. That does not convert by building trust. People don't read that you're learning about AI and you want to self-appoint yourself the AI guru in XYZ, and you're now nobody cares. I don't want to discover what you discover as you discover it, and that makes you the authority in the thing. What I want to know is, how do I apply? Give me specific details. Like, show me that you know what you're talking about, not just that you're journeying. And I get the concept of document, don't create. I'm a big fan of Gary outline this. As I learn, I will share with you kind of thing. And there's a lot of newsletters that were built on that. Lots, like the creator economy, all comes out of that. But you can't just do that now and it's enough. I'm sorry. Like, their times have changed in the last 5 years. So content is not a journal. Number two, it's not therapy. People are bitching and moaning in content, especially now on LinkedIn. I love the fact that I've been on LinkedIn since 2007. Folks are suddenly excited about the fact that, wait a minute, it's becoming Facebook. I don't like the fact that people have an opinion. Wasn't it better when we all used to just be quiet and get along? The reality is that's not the world we live in. I am not a negative poster. I will not post negative ever. It's just my personal policy. And so I admire people who don't do that. However, most folks are out there treating it like therapy. They're venting. I will no longer support Donald Trump, and so I'm leaving this platform. How many of these have I seen? If you don't understand what's happening to B2B sales, then you're going to fail. Like, people have this strong opinion, and it's not that they're trying to educate and establish themselves as dropping a flag in the sand thought leader. It's they're bitching. They're moaning. Don't do that. That doesn't get you customers. Number three, content is actually, it's not a journal. It's not therapy. It's a systemization of familiarity. I'm going to say that again. Content's purpose is to systemize others' familiarity with you. If they don't see you on a regular basis, if they don't know how you think, if they don't know how you speak, if they don't know what you look like in a boonie hat, they want to know what you're thinking. Like, who are you? If before I'm going to do business with you, before I actually dig down and reach into my wallet, I got to feel like I at least have a sense of how you might handle things. You know this for yourself. All the big follows, all the big content folks you follow, right? For me, like everyone's a Hormozy fan right now, but Hormozy, we'll use him as an example. You kind of know what he would say if you were to present him the problem, right? Top of my head. Here's my problem, Alex. Company's not growing. Okay, what's the biggest obstacle the company's facing? What's the constraint on the business? What's the plan to overcome the constraint? Like, I can map you out what Alex would probably say. Gary Vaynerchuk. He would first curse me out and tell me that I'm stupid if I don't understand what I should be doing. He'd be very vehement. And then he would tell me that the empathy aspect matters. And then he would explain to me that social is not going to be around forever and that AI, pick your person, doesn't matter. If you can describe what they would do, there's a reasonable likelihood you may someday buy from them. If folks cannot describe what you would do, you, in your company, they're not going to buy from you. So start thinking of, how can I get people to understand how I would approach the problem? All right. So systemizing familiarity in you is what content, highest and best use, as they say in real estate. There's something I like to call the authority content triad. The authority content triad is teach, relate, invite. For those of you who listen to me regularly, you've heard this before. Teaching is obviously sharing valuable insights. Right? What should I know about content strategy, Mark? Here's what you need to know. You need to build authority first before people become familiar with you, and they need to know, like, and trust. Teach. Relate. I got to show I've lived it. You have to show you've lived it. For those of you who are out there preaching, I can make you $1 million, get you 10,000 leads, and you haven't done it, it's over. Forget it. Like, if you haven't done the thing, you can't be paid to do the thing for someone else. So I do content strategy. And you could argue, I've been doing this 5 years, by the way. You could argue that for 5 years, I'm not the greatest content strategist. That's fine. I actually would accept that. But prior to that, I was in sales for 30 years on Wall Street. So I know how people think. I understand buyer psychology. I understand marketing and messaging. I understand how to present a situation so folks think to themselves, I need to get involved with this. So content is that. And I'm not here to argue my stuff. You think of it for you. How are you living or have lived whatever it is you're promoting? Because teaching it is one thing, but having lived it is another thing. This is the problem with the 18-year-old life coach who's teaching marriage advice. You already know I'm not taking my advice from this idiot. I see these people coming out of Wall Street. I get pounded with the whole crypto, Robin Hood billionaire guys. I'm going to make you rich. Just follow along with my trading signals and you too can be a billionaire. That guy. I know enough about stock trading. Did it done like professionally. That's not going to work. You haven't done it and I have. I'm not buying from you. So flip that. They're looking at you with the same eyes. So you have to prove that you've done it. Number 3, teach, relate, invite. We want to create desire for action on the other party's emotional scale. Right? You don't want to be telling them, buy my thing. No, but this is one of my favorites. I think this was Chris Do. When you say it, you're pitching. When they say it, you're closing. You got to get them to say it. They want to get more. Tell me more about that, Mark. So what should I do, Mark? So what would you recommend that I talk to guys all the time. I spoke to a dude, Jared, last week. Smart guy, building something, technology world. He's like, dude, tell me what I should be doing. Great. Like that's the result that you want for yourself. You want to be able to talk to people and they're like, get this guy or girl involved. Teach, relate, invite. That's the authority content triad. That's how you are going to approach growing your business. And again, this applies if you're a founder, if you're a coach, if you're the CEO of a large B2B enterprise firm on Wall Street. You have to invite people to learn more because nobody wants to be pushed. That's just sales 101. Now, here's the insight. You don't need to go viral. People are thinking you got to go viral. Like you have to be gazillions of views and get my exposure. And I know why they think that. They think that because the algorithms used to be that. That was the old social graph. If you're not connected to enough people don't see your stuff. Social circles. That happened in the algorithmic world of social media. We have switched with the For You page from maybe 3 years back, let's call it, with TikTok to the interest graph. And on the interest graph, I don't need to be connected anymore. If I put down some business advice here for founders and advisors, it's going to get to the founders and advisors because the algorithms on the social platforms are AI driven now. Here's something people don't even know. If I were wearing a New York Yankees baseball cap, anybody that's a Yankees fan is going to be shown that content because the AI is smart enough to know that iconic Yankee symbol, what it is, what it means. The fact that I'm in a t-shirt, the fact that I'm in a suit and tie, all of this matters for you now, which means if you make content, you need to put strategy into your location, your dress, your words. There's a deeper level of content strategy required now. This is not as simple as post and forget, right? The old set it and forget it, Ronco, for those who remember, that worked. It did, and it doesn't work now. Sorry. So with 100 views only, 100, you can get strategic content with that minimal reach and still land customers making money. That's bonkers. You don't need reach the way you did anymore. Now, for that to work, you have to have a strong positioning. One message to one avatar. You've got to be positioned so that you are building trust, and trust trumps trends. What I mean by that is people are going to tell you, especially guys in my chair, here's what you should be doing to get your content to make you famous or to get business. Should. Tony Robbins, you should all over yourself. Love that line. There's no more shoulds, right? If you're building trust, there's no should. You either trust me and you consider doing business with me because you've seen me a bunch and you like what I say, or you don't, which means my work is cut out for me. And it's the same for you. You're building trust. You're in the trust game. This is the relationship game through a screen. That's the only thing different, right? This is 1926 Dale Carnegie, win friends, influence people, but there's now a lens and a screen in front of us. And by the way, this results in zero algorithmic dependence. You want to be free from platform changes. They shift up the algo, you lose your business. That's not a business. Anybody that doesn't have direct direct one-on-one control of their customer. I can fire my customers and they can fire me, but there's no one in the middle to tell me that I suddenly can't talk to my customers. As long as that's the case, you have a problem. And by the way, I have the same problem as I'm coming through these platforms. So we're talking about deplatforming, and there's more strategy there. We'll get to that. I want to focus on what you're doing wrong right now. Your content isn't converting. It's the authority problem. All right. So for those who care and those who want to go deeper, number one, clarify your offer. Get very specific on your positioning and messaging. Know exactly what you are selling and whom you are selling to whom you are selling. Right? Clarifying your offer sounds easy. Can you tell me in 10 seconds what you do? 10 seconds. Most people can't. And the easy way, I know this is overdone, but it's a good, helpful tool. I help X achieve Y without Z. I help founders grow through content without being on the content hamster wheel. You need a quick thing that you can say to someone like, so what do you do? Introducing people. Someone introduces you at a party. This is how they want. You want them to introduce you in this manner without you having to tell them. If you can have that happen, you've done a good job. Number two, you need to create authority content. Authority content is the triad we just talked about, right? Your post should be, you need to be educating people. You need to be relating how you've lived it, and you need to be inviting them into it deeper, right? Invite them to learn more if they want. And number three, you want to build what I call trust-based lead flow. I hate the term lead flow because it's so guru-ish, but it's basically content that gets people to want to learn more. That's it. I'm curious. I liked what you said. You seem like a reasonable guy or girl. That's the type of content that you're going to be making, and that's the content that's going to get them to eventually become a customer. All right. So content that converts, number one, problem aware. You name the pain they feel. When I say to you that you're making content and it's not converting, it's not bringing you customers, that's the pain you feel. You don't want me to tell you about the content strategy problem you have. You don't care. All you know is the problem. You don't care about the deeper thing right now. You just know that I understand your problem. So you're overweight. They don't want to know about the macro account and all. They just want to know, do you know that I have this problem? So they're problem aware. They know you get them. Number two is solution aware, though. Content that converts must first become problem aware, but then it becomes solution aware. Hey, there's a couple of different ways to attack this. You have a problem of content not converting. Your content that you're posting isn't becoming customers. Here's what you could think about. Number one, make authority content. Number two, build relationships. It doesn't matter, but you need to do the same. So you're telling people, this is the problem you face that we attack here. Here's how we attack it. There are many ways to skin a cat. I will in no way tell you that I am the only method to get your content to be more effective for you. I'm not. But I'm telling you how I do it. If you like that, if you think that makes sense, then there's a conversation to be had. The point is you have to do the same for your thing. How do people engage with you? What do you do to help them? Like, what would it look like if they worked with you? What steps do you walk them through? Number three, right? Problem aware, solution aware. Number three, you have to authority proof yourself. Why are you qualified to even be talking on this? There's a lot of things that I can talk about. Investing, stock market, trading, sales. There's a lot of things I can't be talking about. I run my own business. I suck at accounting. Sorry, like I'm not the math guy. You don't want me explaining to you fashion, whatever. Like that's not my area of strength. Know your lane, but know why inside your lane you are qualified. The fact that I have sold in person and over through content for years, but 5 and 30, take your pick. I know how to do this stuff. I've done it. You do too in your thing, but you have to illustrate that. Show me some stories. Give me some examples. I want to see how you would have applied to other people's situations. What advice would you have given? Authority proof yourself. And number four, problem aware, solution aware, authority proof, action steps. This is where I'll credit a guy like a Justin Welsh or a Dan Coe. Very actionable. When you can give actionable advice, clear next moves that people should be thinking about, you talk to your prospects as if they're potential customers and tell them everything they need to do to not have to hire you. When I do these little webinars live from the Gulf of America, I don't actually know how many people will come on board and how many are going to be like, yeah, well, that was helpful, Mark. I don't need to, I'm going to take what you did, ChatGPT what I can, and just work around you. That's fine. But the reality is I'm not here to just convince you. I want you to know I know what I'm doing. So the action steps about the clear move for the next, to to turn prospects into clients, you have to illustrate that for yourself as well. Your results will change when you start targeting decision makers. I've had this problem. I've lived this problem for years. Speaking to buyers, not browsers, is the goal. I have spoken to so many people because A, I'm a nice guy. B, I didn't know if they could be a potential customer. It turns out not. You waste your time, you spin your wheels. I've done it. I'm not preaching. I'm telling you, I'm guilty of this. However, if you're in that boat and you're not getting clients out of your content, you're either making the wrong content or you're speaking to the wrong people. Number two, you need to connect all the pieces. Content that links to a clear offer will always convert better. The first couple of years in business, I was freelancing. I didn't have a clear offer. I was everything to everybody, which ends up resulting in unhappy customers because you didn't quite deliver the thing, or unhappy me because I'm being asked to do with another thing that it's not my strength. If you're in that boat where you're connecting all the pieces, but it doesn't actually it ends in a clear offer, you got to start right there. Your offer is the problem. And I've struggled with this, and you probably are as well. Can someone else explain what you do to help third-party people? Meaning you wouldn't even be in the conversation. There's a cocktail party. What's your friend Mark do? Oh, Mark, he XYZ. If they can't do that, you haven't done a good job of positioning your offer. So connect all the pieces. Make sure your content links back to a clear offer. Something like a webinar here should be strategically tied to something else, right? This is the way content works. There's a functional purpose of every piece of content. Don't just post content. Know where it's going. And number three, right? So target decision makers, connect all the pieces, focus on conversion. I hate the term conversion. I like the term conversation. I'll tell you why. Conversion is about transaction. Conversation is about relationship. And I really firmly believe that relationship is the only way forward in an AI world. You want to measure your depth of client trust, not how many likes you got, right? That's not hard. That's not easy to do. How do you measure trust? You can't. But guess what? You know it's there. How do you measure love? You can't. But guess what? You know when it's there. Trust works this way. Business works this way. This is where money comes from. For those who care, want to go deeper on this, I do a live weekly mastermind. We go into hot seats, training. It's going to be, it's a limited number of people, invitation only, basically. So if you want, DM me, we'll have a conversation. But basically, a deep dive framework on a weekly basis, because this is not changing every few months or every few years. The algorithms change intraday sometimes, believe it or not. Here's a question for you. I'm going live right now on a couple of platforms. But we'll pick on LinkedIn. If I go live on LinkedIn 2 times a day, twice, lives now, live streaming, what does LinkedIn do with that? Does it work? Does it help? Does it hurt? Do you know? And I'll tell you the truth, I don't know either. I asked my wife this question yesterday. This is what you do in a live weekly mastermind. You do stuff and you talk about stuff and you share notes. And this is very different from a cohort. It's very different from a class. It's not a course. This is people learning from people. Number 2, if you care, expert guidance. I will share all my stories, tips, and tricks. I'll tell you everything I do. And number 3, implementation support, which is a fancy way of saying, we tried this, it didn't work, let's group workshop it. Those are the things that I believe I would have preferred to have had when I launched. And I want to provide that to the market for folks who are starting a company, who are becoming experts, advisors, whatever you may be. You need help with content, and you want to be part of a group so you can learn together. If that's of interest to you, DM me. And this is not some automated, I'm going to actually reply to you because I'm not automating it on purpose. I walk the walk when it comes to relationship. I know all about ManyChat and all the other tools that you can use. I'm not doing that. So anyway, that's all I got for you guys. My goal here was to bring a little insight. Feel free to drop any questions if you want. I will engage. I am on break for the next couple of days down here at the Gulf of America, but I will be engaging, so feel free. Thanks for listening, everybody. I will speak with you soon. Peace out. Cheers.